Welcome to Disctv's coverage of the Mid-America Open here in Columbia, Missouri. It's the final round. We would have played a full 18 holes, except 2 of the holes are flooded out today as they were yesterday, so we'll be playing 16 holes in our final round instead. Sinclair has the pad. He has driven this, and Cameron Todd now going over the top. Looks like he's going to be getting into the shul. Hole 2, 211 feet, not far by any standards. However, it is a Horkenheiser shot. There are some big trees that these players have to get over, and then they have to stay out of the rough once they get to the other side. Looks like Todd Branch is going to be sitting fairly well. And here is our one and only local player on the lead card. This is George Smith. And he is a fine player by anyone's standards. He got a bit of a kick off a branch way at the top, although he should be fine for the putt. It's Cameron Todd now. He's got to get himself out of the shul. This is a tough deuce putt at best, and if he's not careful, he is in bogey territory here. And it wasn't pretty, but Cameron Todd is out, and he will be throwing for the par. Here's Todd Branch now from about 20 feet out. And he is not even going to get any chain on that. Todd Branch having a rough time putting this weekend. Cameron Todd now getting ready to putt, and you see the dust and the things flying around. He's drying off his disc, so he has a nice, good grip, and he'll take his 3. George Smith now with the easy deuce. A great drive on this hole for him. Sean Sinclair will hit the deuce as well, and now Todd Branch slipping and sliding in the mud for his 3. And that'll do it. We will move on. And we move on to hole 4. Sean Sinclair driving this 379-foot hyzer hole. There's a little trouble off to the right, but it's mostly open here. And Sinclair is going to have the distance. That's a pretty good looking shot. The basket right behind the big tree out there. Here's world champ Cameron Todd. He currently trails Sinclair by 3. And he too isn't going to get quite the hyzer he wanted. He'll be off right of the basket. Here's Todd Branch. Todd with a nice smooth release, but he too is going to be right of the basket, and the wind is playing into this hole a little more than these players are expecting it to. George Smith, he's also got a great smooth style, and he is going to get the hyzer that the others were looking for. Clearly he overcompensated a bit more, and he will have a putt. Here's Branch now from about 120 feet out. We can expect to see a jump putt from Todd here. He's pretty accurate with his shot. And he went off a branch a little too high, fell short, and it'll be a 3 for Todd Branch. Meanwhile, Cameron Todd right off the top of the basket. A great looking putt, but just a little bit too high. Cam was shivering back on hole 2. You can see he's clearly wet from the earlier rounds, and the temperatures, having really dropped off this afternoon, could become a factor for all of these players as they try to stay warm and keep their muscles moving like they want them to. Sinclair, beautiful deuce. That one's good. And Sinclair will increase his lead to 4 over Cameron Todd. The rain has let up some now, much to everyone's relief. And we will move on. To hole 6 now. Here's George Smith. The basket isn't far away in this hole. It's fairly short, 240 or so. But the basket is tucked among some trees, and that will tempt the players to throw too closely to the rough on the right side of the fairway. Here's Sinclair taking the hyzer route out on the right side. And he will fall short, but should have a putt. Cameron Todd now going right at the basket. Great looking shot. And he will be putting for a deuce. And, oh, Todd Branch with a gack. That is not going to be an easy deuce whatsoever. Todd now from about 120 out. And he's pretty much going to play the layup here and take his 3 and his lumps. Now George Smith, a very meticulous putter. He will take his time. He'll think about it. He'll warm up. He'll visualize the shot. And then he'll do it some more. But the thing is, with George Smith, usually it's worth the wait. This guy can really putt. There you have it. Like I said, 2 for George Smith, and well worth the wait, at least it was to him. Here's Sinclair for what should be an easy deuce. This one is well within his range. Oh, and he's off the rim of the basket. I may have spoken too soon saying that was well within his range, and Sinclair will have to take the 3. Cameron Todd doesn't even think about the putt, steps up and slams it home. That was a great looking putt. And that'll be a 2 for him. Sinclair takes his 3. And Todd Branch will go, oh, faking out the cameraman. Todd Branch. Now he's been hanging out with the Disctv folks. He's been helping us out. You better watch out. Faking out the cameraman can lead to trouble later in the studio when the magic of editing can make Todd do a lot of things that maybe he hadn't planned on. We pick up the action on hole H, a short 234-foot tunnel hole. There's water OB behind the basket, and George Smith has let out a beauty of a shot right past the basket. He actually might have gone into the water there. We'll have to wait and see when we get up to the basket. Cameron Todd, oh, and he's not happy with that at all. Cameron Todd right off a tree, just off the pad, and it's going to be a 3 at best for Cameron Todd. And his mood is turning darker by the minute. Sean Sinclair, he's fading a bit right. Didn't take the hyzer route as you might have thought he would, but he's going to be putting. And here's Todd Branch. And he too, I think it was the same tree, and he's going to be well short after hitting an early tree. And we'll join Cam Todd in his approach shot. Didn't give that much thought, just kind of rip up there, and he's still going to be a bit short of the basket. Todd now taking his time. He might even try to sink this in the chains. Well, he laid it up, but a safe play nonetheless. And George Smith was indeed in this creek. He was out of bounds, so this will be to save a 3 after the penalty stroke. Smith taking his time as always. And again, it's worth it. Great putt. He saved the 3 after the penalty. Great putt from George Smith. Cameron Todd now. Here's for 3. And Cam is off the chains. Chain left. He's going to take a bogey. And again, we can see Cameron Todd's mood is just getting darker and darker. He is not a happy camper. And to hole 11 now. This is a risky deuce run. Hole 11 is 390 feet. There's out of bounds on the left side of the fairway and a rough on the right side. So a real narrow landing zone that these players will be shooting for. And Cameron Todd played that too tight. He's going to be in the shoal on the right side of the fairway, well short of the basket. Here's our leader, Sean Sinclair. And that is a fine looking drive, real smooth, little S shot right up the middle, and he will have a putt finish. There's Todd Branch with a risky roller shot. I'm not sure why he would go to the roller, and he's going to pay the price. He's off into the rough as well on the right side. Cameron Todd now got a long way to go to get to the basket, and he's going to go with the pancake shot out of there. He's going to be short of the basket. Now a chance for deuce. This is Columbia, Missouri's George Smith. Another great looking putt just off the top of the basket. And George Smith, although not looking happy, a fine putt nonetheless. Meanwhile, Cameron Todd, he's going to take it. Oh my, now that could be a penalty stroke if the other players want to push this. I don't think Cameron Todd meant to do that, but if you throw a disc more than 6 feet, that is actually considered to be a practice throw. Now, again, I don't think he meant to throw that. I think it slipped out. But Cameron Todd clearly not happy taking the bogey here, and it will be up to the other players or an official if they want to give him any grief for that. Now, Sinclair missing the putt. He'll take a 3. And Cameron Todd, check that. Todd Branch for his 3. He goes chain right, and it will be a bogey for Mr. Branch. George Smith takes his 3, as well Mr. Sinclair. No deuces, and Sinclair now leading by 5 over Cameron Todd, 10 over Smith, 14 over Branch. And we arrive at hole 12. Now this one should be a deuce for all of these pros. It's 249 feet, wide open. There's a little bit of rough on either side and behind the basket, but again, should be a deuce. These are all professional disc golfers, and this is not a very difficult hole. George Smith appears to be in deuce territory, and Sinclair has let loose with a beauty. He is right next to the basket and is parked right there. Meanwhile, Cameron Todd, he throws a little turnover that appears to be headed right for the basket. Great shot. That was darn near an ace, and a great shot after the tough bogey on the previous hole for Cam Todd. Todd Branch now with a turnover shot, but that's going to come out, and he's going to be well short of the basket, off to the left side and into the shoal. The wind now is crossing right to left. A tricky putt for Todd Branch. He is down on one knee. He's got to get around these branches here, and he has to contend with the wind all at the same time. Gave it a run, but it wasn't happening. George Smith now, use attempt. He's about 20 feet out. And he likes to take his time, make sure he gets it right. And once again, he gets it right. Another deuce for George Smith. After the ace run, here's Cam Todd. He went about 15 feet back. Deuce there. And Mr. Sinclair with his 2. Welcome back to Disctv's coverage of the 18th Annual Mid-America Open from Columbia, Missouri. We're at hole 15. It's a 241-foot Anheuser shot. There's OB water behind the basket. And Sinclair is a little short there, but with a 6-stroke lead, he probably isn't real concerned about taking a 3 on this hole. Here's Smith. He has been putting very well today, and his drives haven't been too shabby either. A little tight, clipped a branch, and he's going to be short of the basket. From where we're standing on the pad, we can hear the running water of the creek. All the creeks around these parks are just gushing with more than normal amounts of water this weekend. Here's Branch. He's been struggling, and he's going to continue to struggle. That was another gack. I don't know what's happening to Todd Branch, but that was a terrible drive. That fell well short of the basket. And Cameron Todd. Nice, smooth looking Anheuser. He's going to be right there at the basket. Great shot from Cam Todd. Here's Branch now. He's got some trouble to deal with. There's a low ceiling due to the branches hanging there, and he's got to get low enough to stay under those, high enough to get into the chains, and he still has the water behind the basket that he has to be concerned about. He's up, over the top. Oh, I think he went in the water. Oh, this is not a good finish here for Todd Branch. Here's Smith now. This one's in his range, about 20 feet. And he is off the basket, and we'll have to settle for a 3 on hole 15. Hole 16, Cam Todd is the pad after the deuce. Now 16 is 370 feet. There's a pond to the left, although the basket itself is fairly safe and out in the open. The trees in the middle create an obvious hyzer route, and Cam Todd is going to be a little right of the basket. Here's Smith now, and he lets loose with a real beauty. That's a rip. Hyzer's out real nicely, and Smith is going to be pretty happy with that shot. Sinclair now, a 5-stroke lead over Cam Todd. Nice follow through. The rain is picking up a little bit here as Sinclair's shot is going to be short and right of the basket. And Branch is going to take the same hyzer route, and this may turn out to be his best shot of the day after the bogey on 15. Todd Branch right there at the basket. Cam Todd missing another long putt. His struggles continue. Here's Sinclair. He's got about 35 feet to go. And he too makes the dreaded clunking sound, and we'll have to settle for the 3. Smith, as usual, is going to take his time, make sure he gets his putt right, visualize the disc going into the chains right at the pole. Only this time, he's not going to get it to stay in. So a 3 for Mr. Smith. Shot as well, and Todd Branch will take the solo deuce on the hole. And the rain is returned with a vengeance as Todd Branch driving off 18. This is our final hole. And Branch with another stinker. Just not a good shot. He trails Smith by 3 now, and virtually no chance at 3rd place at this point. Here is our leader, Sean Sinclair. He rips a beauty out into this weather. Great looking shot. George Smith is going to turn his disc over, but being a fairly wide open hole, that won't make much difference. Todd Branch, he is just falling apart. He's well away on his approach shot. Smith lining up the hyzer approach. And that's just fine. It has been a rough day for Cameron Todd. He's going to be finishing in 2nd place, but He has not been a happy camper through most of this final round. I think the weather may have gotten to him, and certainly some of those missed putts, long though they were frustrating for Cameron. Here's Sean Sinclair. He's going to lay up. He'll take his 3 and his victory as soon as Todd Branch can manage to putt out of this hole. I think both Todd and Cam will be plenty happy to get out of this weather and back into some warm indoor climate as Todd misses his putt and he'll be taking the bogey. Sinclair, our winner, he is done. Gets a little high five from Cameron. And that is going to wrap it up for us. We will take a break and come back to let you know how it has finished out here at the Mid-America Open from Columbia, Missouri.
Disc golf is the new outdoor sport for the entire family. This environmentally friendly game is now being enjoyed by hundreds of thousands of players on over 1,200 courses worldwide. For the past 25 years, the Professional Disc Golf Association has been there, guiding disc golf into the future. The PDGA is an international nonprofit member organization that serves both professional and amateur disc golfers. The Professional Disc Golf Association, guiding disc golf into the future.
Let's talk with this weekend's men's open winner. He's Sean Sinclair of California. Sean, how did it go?
Pretty well. I played the most consistent I probably played all year. I had a little trouble about a month ago with putting and switched up style and really focused on a couple of 100 putts a day, and that's actually probably what won the tournament for me.
That will wrap it up from Columbia. The PDGA Tour moves north next week when we'll bring you coverage from the Fox Valley Open in Appleton, Wisconsin. Be sure and visit us online anytime at disclife.com, where you can order Disctv tapes and learn how to send us your disc golf news and video clips. For Disctv, I'm Brian Sullivan. We'll see you next week.